And this global movement, the Via Campesina, is in many contexts, we have in many contexts now confronted that neoliberal globalized trade, food trade, and that corporate power over and assimilation of ownership of not only land and markets, but also genetics. And that's the whole argument around GMOs and seed patenting and all of that. But we're confronting that in a movement politic. And we were recently, well, in 2007, we've been on the ground, we've been confronting that now since 1992, I guess, was our first movement meeting. And this is a huge movement, millions and millions of us. And this is encouraging, actually. When I work in that international context, and I'm going to Africa, to Mali, to another meeting here in a few weeks' time, when I work in that African, or in that global context with peasant movements, then rather than being, as we are here in Canada, a small, beleaguered group of sort of fringe producers who try and push against what's happening to our food system and our environment. In that international context, in a lot of countries, of course, peasants are still the majority. And there's enormous strength, and there's enormous diversity, and there's enormous resilience there. And it's very encouraging for those of us who sometimes feel discouraged that we're on the fringes here and we can't really make any changes. Take heart. There are millions and millions of peoples, peasants and indigenous peoples elsewhere in the world, who understand what food is about and the relationship between food, environment, and culture, and who are deeply rooted, adaptable, resilient, and will not cede the ground. And ceding as in giving up the ground. They will cede the ground, taking control back over it. So in that Via Campesina movement, we are committed to reordering the food system and to a concept that we've labeled food sovereignty, not food security, but food sovereignty, control over and ownership over food and food producing capacity in local and regional areas. And we're committed to, and let me just read as a final piece here, the sort of principles of food sovereignty that we're committed to. We're committed to a food system that focuses on food for people and not for profit, that takes it out of the category of commodity and puts it back where it belongs, on our plates, in our cultures, as the centerpiece of our feasts. That's what food is for. It is for giving life to people, not for giving profits to corporations. It values food providers, and these are peasants, of course, we who have been so denigrated, so socially so marginalized often. We want it understood that those who grow food, those who provide food, are in fact not a marginal sort of subsidized group. I once was told when I was a farm leader here in Canada by somebody that said to me, you know, food is cheap, it's you farmers who are so expensive. So it values food providers, producers, it localizes food systems, I've talked a bit about that, puts control back locally, builds on the knowledge and skills that are the wisdom of peoples who have lived in those places and know how to grow food that is appropriate for those places in those places. Never mind intensive hog operations in Mexico. That's the wrong place. That's not where that came from. It shouldn't be anywhere, not even here in Alberta. But certainly not in places where it is very far from the systems that are indigenous to those places. So it builds on local knowledge and wisdom and skills, and it works with nature. Food sovereignty is premised on the fact that the contributions of nature are diverse. It relies on low external input agroecological production and harvesting methods that maximize the contribution of ecosystems that improve resilience and adaptation. Especially in the face of climate change, it seeks to heal the planet so that the planet may heal us. Food is the basis of our life. If we don't take care of food and the food system and that basis, we actually jeopardize everything else we value. So when I have a chance, urge people to weigh in, to take part, to be part of a movement that is life-giving, locally, at your breakfast table, in your community. And then to gather around the food you know and love and feast with joy. Thank you.